I had to clean up this room. I walked in here and I forgot when I was editing. I had Rev in here for a little bit. And almost every pop vinyl that was in that little box right there was on the table.
Oh.
Elmo was on the table too, so I just left him. Elmo can just hang out. It's a dead Tickle Me Elmo.
Spooky.
He's spooky. His eyes are yellow.
Yeah, because he's old. I think he's my Tickle Me Elmo. But he did. He's actually a cartwheel Elmo is what he is. So he goes like, and then...
I remember those.
But tickle me extreme.
Cartwheels are very extreme.
Brandon, if you want to shut the light
Oh,
off.
I didn't know we were going.
I didn't either, to be honest with you.
Yeah, that looks surprisingly bright.
Yeah, right?
It looks way brighter on there than
Than actually being in the room.
I know. It's better this way.
We don't need to see each other. The light's going to turn on at some point. I'm going to do a spooky voice. I'll do like a Dracula voice. Go for it.
I'm not too.
But why not? I wish I left the light on longer because that vinyl glow in the dark. Hi, and welcome to the spooky episode of the album sharing sessions.
Good evening.
Hence the
Hi.
light being off. That's about as much of a theme as we've got.
Cool.
You like
You put in some background music.
This is our budget and our production value.
It's just turning the lights off.
We can afford electricity in my room.
The lights will flicker on and off.
When Brandon gets up and flips them on and off.
I don't even have to get up. I can just.
Ooh.
If we're ready.
Yeah, that's fine.
Boo.
Hi, welcome to the lighted episode of the album sharing sessions. Not so spooky now.
Yeah, this week is all spooky themed.
Yeah, episode 10. Gimmick around spooky because October 14th is the spookiest day of all.
It's true.
What's funny is that yesterday would have been a 13th of Friday. We could have recorded yesterday.
I mean, you could
For Halloween.
you
for
could
October,
just make it go up early.
October 14th. No, I'm saying yesterday. Day of recording. Wise.
Oh, I got you.
This is going to come out on the 21st. So October 21st.
Wait. Wouldn't it come out on the 12th?
Next Saturday, I don't know.
That's the 12th.
What? What day is it today?
The 5th.
I'm garbage.
I was really confused.
What is the 14th?
I don't know.
Columbus Day.
That is true.
That's kind of scary. I don't.
Okay, I've missed a week and a half of my life apparently.
Yeah. You were in a coma. Or
Today is October 5th.
Well, not on the, not what they're seeing. It's not
Spooky today. Well, welcome back. What's up, Mike?
Whatever
that was.
Whatever day you're watching this.
This is album sharing sessions. Today we are covering A Gradual Decline in Morale by Kim.
Murder Ballads by Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds.
What was mine called?
We're gonna have a
Lemon Demon.
I wasn't prepared for this.
We're gonna have bloopers episode 2.
Don't do that. Spirit Phone by Lemon Demon.
In the past, we've covered things like Haven't Been Myself by Too Close to Touch, Kick by NXX, Demi by Demi Lovato, and Thriller by Michael Jackson.
That's weird. Wasn't that all the singers are quote unquote dead?
Yeah,
Round?
even though Demi Lovato is not dead.
Yeah, I don't know what that was about.
That's kind of spooky, right?
Yeah.
Like well, no, I mean like
the previous
the round 10, and now this one. It's like
Yeah.
I did my little intro thing again, where I wrote us.
oh god,
introductions. They're not as bad. I don't make a dumb joke this time. I like doing it.
Okay.
It causes me great joy.
Well, that's good.
But I'll start with Brandon.
Okay.
Even though I just introduced him. It says we call him the Wild Rose, but his name is Brandon.
Yeah, I thought you were gonna go way worse.
No, I could have, and I didn't want to.
Exactly.
There are a handful where I was like, man, I could have made this horrible.
There were a lot of things to choose from on my album.
Yeah, I like. When I heard this line in Timmy's album is when I decided I was going to do it again.
I think I know what it is.
I have a hunch, but we'll see.
I actually have two for him, which I'll read after I introduce you the first time. Where I was like, which one am I going to go to?
Yeah, after you say it, I'll say what I think you were going to say.
It says he has hands, he has feet, he is a freak. It's Timmy.
It's not what I thought. I thought you were going to say, here's Timmy and he's your dad.
Almost. But then I have, when you cry at night, I can be your superhero. Tristan. I could have made mine a lot worse too.
Yeah,
but I do.
You're pretty tame.
I do have an extra one for Timmy where he says he found his medicine. He is sorry he yelled at you. But if just so you know, if you ever steal his medicine, that's what he'll do. He is your dad.
I thought you were going to go with the soft fuzzy man.
Yeah, that's too easy.
Yeah, but it fits most.
Here's Timmy. He has a sweet bod.
That one makes sense.
You just combine all of them. Like, he's got hands, feet, sweet bod. He's your dad.
People probably have no idea what we're talking about.
Mongoose ghosts. Surprisingly more people than you think. So in the order of today's events of our spookiness, I found something interesting when doing my little research for this, where the monthly listeners on Spotify surprised me a lot. So I think I'm going to do a thing like we did before.
I would have no earthly idea on any of these artists.
So
I would hazard a guess to say Kim Dracula's maybe the most popular, but
we'll see.
I don't know.
But when doing this early on, I looked it up just to see how popular these were, because I feel like we're going from our, like, what is our most popular video now, and probably our most marketable, because we're talking about the most current popular person in the world, to what I feel like was going to be our, like, hardest to sell episode.
Yeah. This one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where, like, it's going to be a hard one to just to spoil in advance. All these albums have their own weird things that is going to make it hard to review.
Like, when you see the thumbnail from the last one, you're like, oh, it's Sabrina Carpenter. Yeah. And then you see this one, you're like, who are these people?
Who is this really deformed monster, man? But yeah, that's that. I started doing research early on it to try to find a way to make it interesting, but I'm going to keep it a surprise. And the most is what we'll go with first. So the most monthly listener surprised me, and take into account that this is, like, relevance as well. So, like, this is going to spoil the first one a little bit. People that have a new album out.
Oh, I guess I'm going first then, huh?
Yeah. Have the most monthly listeners because it's every month.
Because Nick Cave just released a new album.
Yep, and on a tour and a whole bunch of other stuff. So. Is at Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds, I guess I should say, as a band, is at 4.2 million monthly listeners.
Wow.
Way more than I was expecting, because I did not know this this group name at all. But we are covering Murder Ballads, the album by them.
Murder Ballads.
Came out February 5th of 1996.
Wow.
So
and now we're on to...
Yeah. Well, not February 5th, but...
That's what it says.
1996.
Yeah.
No, I meant us. Like,
yeah, this album is older than all of us.
Yeah.
By a few months.
And
it's older than Timmy by a month.
Born in the same year.
In a few days. All right. Well, I don't really know how to open with this album because it's not one that I'm, like, super familiar with. I've listened to it before I picked this, but I always just kind of thought the vibe of this album really lent itself to, like, oh, you got to check this out, October, November, like, it's like the perfect setting to listen to this album.
Or February 5th.
Yeah. Really anywhere between October through like February.
That doesn't make any sense to come out when it did.
Yeah.
Well, I mean the
album cover is like wintry.
Yeah, I was gonna say the cover art has it's a lodge in winter.
Also, 9th studio album.
The Murder Ballads.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've
looking on Apple Music. It looked like he only had like 3 before this.
No, they've released a lot of albums, but this is the only one I've listened to.
2024 released another.
Yeah, I mean, he's... do you know how old he is?
No.
Like, did you look that up? Yeah, I feel like... Because he sounds old on this album.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was
and this is...
almost 30 years
28 years ago.
But yeah, no, that makes sense. So this album, to kind of... Why I think this one is going to be hard to get people to listen to, I guess. I don't know. It will be like niche crowd review week.
Well, yeah, this...
Even though 4.2 million. Like, to be fair, that's way bigger than I thought. But
again, though, I think a lot of people are checking out his new work.
Talking to people about this episode before, like, we recorded and stuff and kind of give a vibe of, like, what we were talking about. I was telling them, like, the synopsis of this one. I was like, oh, my friend's actually having us listening to an album called Murder Ballads that was like each song is a different murder or sets of murders or killings of some kind, way, shape, or form.
Yeah, like this. It's more about the storytelling than it is the music. Yeah. I would say. So, which is not easy to recommend or like. I don't know.
Yeah,
you kind of have to have a different mindset when it comes to this album.
Yeah.
Like, you can't just listen to this like you would anything else.
Yeah, going into it blind was interesting. I immediately got, like, less, like, musically, technically skilled than, like, Black Midi, but I got a lot of vibes with that.
With the,
like, storytelling, and
yeah.
Sometimes his voice hits the same kind of notes that Black Midi guy does. But then also the sleazy factor of, that handsome devil. Yeah. Where if you kind of combine the two, but take, like... more
put like a folk kind of spin on it.
And my immediate impression was like, this is what that handsome devil wanted to be in that album that we listened to.
I'm not just thinking of one little stupid thing and making a whole song about it.
It's like if that album was good.
Which is, it's like you picked that album.
I did, but mostly for that one song.
That song is good. Yeah, to be fair.
It's like if they kept that like. I don't know what to say. If they kept that going, that like song and the quality and just the theme.
If they just made that one song over and over and over again.
Kind of.
But like a little different.
Like if they carried on with like the theme that like the album was like, even named.
Well that's this album's whole deal is its theme. Right? Yeah. Like it's called Murder Ballads, and like Tristan said, every song follows some kind of horrific crime, whether it just be like one person getting killed or I don't know if you did the research on like.
I think the Apple Music description
it does say that, but I can't remember. But it's like over 60.
At least 63, I think is what it says. Which there are definitely like in Curse of Millhaven, there are definitely some that aren't. Like,
some are just named. Some are just kind of throwaway, like like we'll kill all the children of Millhaven. Yeah.
But, it's definitely an interesting one. Musically speaking, it's really not something we've ever even thought about touching. At least I think. Where, like, there's a lot more orchestral music. Like, instruments that would be from that. Like, I think there's an organ player in this band. And, like, choirs and...
Yeah, I mean, it's different from our usual run of the mill picks, especially like for me. Like this is probably the slowest album I think I've picked. Maybe. I don't know off the top of my head. We've been doing this for a while, but like it's the most slow paced that I can remember.
But then there is the rare like Curse of Millhaven again that almost sounds like the same kind of like beat and tempo as like we covered like round one ever with the, or maybe it was two, but the White Buffalo song that we all liked.
Oh yeah, The Witch.
Yeah.
I forgot about that album.
Yeah, I mean, it's been 2 years,
It was a long
2
time
years
ago.
plus.
Long time ago.
But yeah, saying a lot. I thought it was cool that this album isn't the same story over and over and over again. Where like you got the concept is pretty there.
I mean, yeah, it's like
Yeah.
they're all,
Like,
it's all going to end in tragedy.
It's
but,
not
but,
just
but
like-
how it gets there is
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
different story every time. It's not like the first song. It's like somebody's family gets murdered, and it's not clear if he's actually the guy that does it or not.
I'm still not sure if it, like I think it's purposely kind of left mysterious like that.
But then you get like songs where like you get a person that meets another person that they think is beautiful.
You
That
talking about where the wild rose?
Yeah. Where he says that all beautiful things must die and just kills her. But then you get Curse of Millhaven, where it's a 14-year-old that kills like basically a whole town. There's O'Malley's Bar, which is one guy taking out a whole bar full of
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
Then you got Stagger Lee, which is definitely from the perspective of the killer.
Yeah, it's definitely varied. So I like that aspect of it, but at the same time, I don't think I'll ever listen to this again.
So
no part of me ever wants to go back.
That's kind of like, even though I picked this, that's kind of my, I don't want to say issue with this album, but
Yeah.
like it's not something you can just go back to.
Yeah.
Like, oh, like let's have a good time and like no, that's not this album.
Like, I'm happy
sure.
I took the time to know that this exists and listen to it, and we're covering it and whatnot. I have no being in my bones that I was ever going to go back to this.
I mean, it's kind of like watching like a really depressing movie. It's
Yeah.
like, well, that
Yeah.
was really sad. I never want to watch this again.
Yep,
Like,
exactly.
it's like, that it's like the album equivalent of that. It's like, yeah, it's pretty good, but it doesn't have a lot of replay value for me. It doesn't sound like for either of you
Like,
guys either.
Yeah.
I guess it could if you were sadistic.
Yeah, like it's kind of like.
It's not a fun listen.
Right, yeah, like it's kind of on the longer side too. It's like just under an hour.
And
And
I think O'Malley's Bar really stretches that out.
It really does.
I don't
Putting
think
that at
really-
the end, I was just like, oh man, this is flying through for an hour, and it's just like, oh, this second to last song is 15 minutes of this hour.
That was a choice. I don't. But no, yeah, you're right. Like by the end, it just kind of, it's like, all right, I think I've heard all I needed to hear.
But there are, speaking of songs and lyrics and stuff like that, there are 2 songs on this that I could have done without that make it to where I don't ever want to listen to this again. If they weren't there, I probably might. I don't like Stagger Lee or O'Malley's Bar as songs.
Stagger Lee is just kind of gross.
Yeah, that's exactly why I don't like it.
Yeah,
There are lines in that I like. I'm one for repeating lines here. I'm not gonna say.
I think I know exactly the line you mean, and I also don't want to say it, but
I don't really remember the line.
It's gross.
it's
Really the whole song, but there's specifically a line.
There
where
there is one line
I'm like, this shouldn't have been written ever.
towards the end where it's like why did you put this in here, Nick? No, yeah, and it's unfortunate that Stagger Lee is placed where it is because it's in the middle. Well, I mean, it's at the beginning of the album, but it's in the middle of like the best songs on here, like Song of Joy
and Henry Lee.
and Henry Lee, which are probably, I'd say them two, and then Where the Wild Roses Grow are my top 3.
Popularity wise, it goes Where the Wild Roses Grow, Henry Lee, then Stagger Lee as the 3 most listened to.
Yeah, I mean, and the 2 most popular make sense because it's a feature from Kylie Minogue and PJ Harvey. Like, I think those 2 songs got pretty widespread radio play. Like,
weird, but okay.
I mean, we weren't around for that, obviously, but I'm pretty sure that those are 2 of his most popular songs.
And to be completely honest, I know I singled out O'Malley's Bar as something I didn't like. There's after every line, there's like this like groaning. It's like the vocal run is why I don't like it. I don't really not like it because of the
you're
song.
right. You're right. I don't.
But-
It kind of reminded me of how Welcome to the Jungle has Axl Rose moaning on it, and it's like completely takes me out. Like that's the same thing.
I think the
with
whole
O'Malley's Bar.
almost last 2 minutes is just moaning, but with like some numbers in between. And it's like it just seems like a complete disrespect of the listener's time.
Yeah, this is a rare instance. We're kind of on the same wavelength on an album here. Like everything you're saying, I completely 100% agree with.
And it's interesting. It's good for a listen, but like when going back to try to review this, I've listened to this like at least like 15, 20 times. I'm like, oh, I'm back to O'Malley's Bar.
15, 20 times.
That was low for me as well. I was having a hard time finding.
Yeah, that one.
Finding
I found it.
That one.
I understand.
Yeah,
I remember.
Were you looking for the line we were talking about?
I was like, I don't remember that song all too well, but now I do.
Being said, O'Malley's Bar has one of my favorites in it, where it says that I smashed his head with an ashtray the size of a really big brick. Where he like stumbles over that line.
Funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, like he does sneak a little bit of like comedic lyrics in there. Now that I think about, I mean, I assume Stagway is not meant to be taken.
Oh no, but it's
serious,
just too gross.
Yeah, it's like there's a fine line between it's like you said in O'Malley's Bar, it's like haha, and then Staggerly, it's like ugh.
Yeah. There's O'Malley's Bar also has an interesting like character study there, where the guy thinks that he doesn't have free will, and by the end of it, he doesn't want to die, and is feeling remorse. It's just interesting, but again, I don't like it. I don't want to go back to it ever. I liked listening to it once.
It's a tough pill to swallow. That 15-minute long track there.
Yeah.
Going to favorite though, I think the Curse of Millhaven might be my favorite.
I think it's my favorite too, actually.
Curse of Millhaven's great.
It's really fun.
Yeah.
Despite like just a 15-year-old talking about murder. But like the beat and whatnot.
I think the other three songs that I listed are, personally I like them more, but Curse of Millhaven's a solid like number 4 for me.
The three that you listed as your favorite do the atmosphere of this really well.
Mm-hmm.
Where it's all like really like...
I think those three do a good job at like kind of setting the tone for the album. Like especially Song of Joy, because obviously it's the first thing you hear. And like how he like you said, they have those orchestral breaks like in Song of Joy where he's telling the story about how he met his girl named Joy, they got married, and then it shifts to like violins and whatever. I think is it the organ in that song? I can't remember off the top of my head.
I think it's probably in every song. There's an organ player in the band.
But anyway, it's like a call and response. Like the story, then the orchestral back to the story, and it kind of builds up into this crescendo of like, oh, and now his wife Joy and his 3 daughters are dead, and is it an unreliable narrator? I don't know. Like, but I like that song a lot just because of the mystique of it.
Yeah, so those 3 specifically have like almost a pretty feel to them. Where like you have the murder lyrics and whatnot, but like the music and whatnot, just I don't know. I do like it.
Yeah, and like I said earlier, I really like PJ Harvey's guest spot on Henry Lee.
Yeah, she comes back for Death Is Not the End, right?
Yeah, so they actually all come back. So that song that's a Bob Dylan cover.
I do know that.
Oh.
And yeah, they bring back Kylie Minogue and PJ Harvey and a couple other people. Like I think you can read like, but it's no one that was like listed on.
It seems like every verse is a different person.
But yeah, they kind of come in for like a we are the world type thing. So I thought that was a cool, neat way to end the album.
To connect our albums, mine also ends in a cover, but that's besides the point.
That is true.
There's a connection between mine and Timmy's too that I'm going to point out when we get to it too. Where I just thought it was weird that these completely different albums have like some similarities.
I can't wait to hear what you mean because I am not.
That one's that one. Just that they both end in covers.
Well, yeah, ours may, but yours and Timmy's, I'm failing to draw the draw the line here.
It's a really small similarity. It's talking about being a dad. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know if I have much else. If anybody else wants to take it, or we can just start.
No, I mean, this is a hard album to kind of put into words. I think it's best experience just listening to it yourself and forming your own. I mean,
unless you don't like true crime type stuff or really
if you're into like true crime, you might really like this album.
It kind of felt like a true crime like musical or play or something.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty good comparison there.
Yeah.
But if you have a light stomach towards gore or very descriptive murders, don't.
Right? Yeah. Don't. I wouldn't bother. Like,
it's not a fun listen. But like,
it's not fun, but it's kind of rewarding in a way. I mean, it's not really. It's not fulfilling.
I would give it. Yeah.
Like once you get to the end, it's. I don't know about you guys, but I'm like, I'm glad I listened to that. And, glad I experienced it. I probably, even though again I picked it, I probably won't listen to it for this time next year.
Also, to spoil some of it, only 2 of the whole characters in this whole thing experience any kind of repercussions.
Yeah.
Really?
It's only the girl in the Curse of New Haven and O'Malley's bar. Those are the only 2 that like cops get caught or they get caught. That's it. It's just an interesting little side note. I do like it might be why I like Curse of New Haven the best is that
because there's some justice.
Well, not even that, but I like her. Like they ask me if I feel any remorse, and it's just like if you would have caught me, I would have done a lot more. Is her problem? Just no, that song's good. But yeah, Tim, you have any closing thoughts?
Nope.
Or
I think we're pretty wrapped up on this.
Okay, 1 sentence review, go.
Wait, 1 sentence review or my score?
Like a long story short, and then a score at the end.
Oh, long story short, if you like true crime and or folk ballad kind of music, I would check this out. If not, I don't think you're missing a whole lot, but it is really good if you are into that kind of stuff.
My 1 sentence would be that I am happy that we listened to it and covered it. And I feel like this is what the music group might be, like a good thing because
a good
of
vehicle
the music
for
group.
that, like to discover music like this that you'd otherwise never.
But I cannot wait to never listen to this again. If you got one, I can score 2. I was gonna give it a 6.
It was fun. It's more like listening to stories than it is listening to music.
It kind of has like a campfire vibe to it.
Yeah, it's more of like listening to a play that's happening.
Yeah,
in a way,
which is neat.
Yeah,
but it's not always what you want.
Should I give a score now?
Sure.
I didn't give a score on mine, but
you picked it up.
I'll give it a 6.5.
So we're kind of down the line here. I will give it a 7.
Ooh.
6.5.
Okay.
I guess we probably could have figured that out, huh? I didn't need a calculator for that. I wanted to be thorough, precise.
Surprisingly so. If going down the Spotify monthly listeners rabbit hole, the next group we're listening to is at 1.7 million monthly listeners, and it is Spirit Phone by Lemon Demon.
Wow. Oh, so I was way off then.
I would have also thought that mine was the most popular going into it, but it's actually the least.
I know Lemon Demon's pretty popular.
I did not know that.
So,
this album came out February 29th of 2016.
I was going to say real quick, I learned this today. I was like, I don't know who this Lemon Demon is and why they're so popular. And then I went to their Wikipedia page, and I found out that it's Neil, how you say his name, C.C. Erga or whatever. He has like a solo group. I'm like, this makes all the sense in the world now.
I don't know who that is.
I don't know who that is.
but
so I know who he. I know I'm familiar with a couple of his songs, and I'm like, I didn't know that he was also Lemon Demon. So that makes sense that there's some crossover because he's pretty popular, like just on his own Neil CCR project.
Hey sister, when you watch this, you called me in the middle of recording. It gave me an anxiety attack. Oh, interesting, fun little fact. It came out on a leap day.
Oh, really?
February 29th.
Wow, so really this album is like, what, 2 years old? Like,
No, 2016. Oh, but yeah, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's 2 years old to me.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
It's so new.
Have any thoughts to open your album with?
No.
I don't know why I give you the opportunity.
I don't know why you ask him every week. It's
got to be something. My fun little tidbit to go into my album is that both albums start with like a warning, basically saying that this album is yours says this album isn't doesn't condone the belief in the occult.
Oh yeah.
And then my whole first song is that. That's a little bit.
No.
Also, I'm your dad. No. So, Spirit Phone by Lemon Demon. Still a hard title to get, and I understand you having problems in the beginning. Because when I saved the picture on my computer to put it into the episode, I just wrote the title of the picture as word vomit.
Oh.
Because it's just words. That being said, I very much appreciate that you made us listen to the 50-something minute version of this album other than the hour-and-a-half version of this album.
Yeah.
I told myself I was going to find that time to go back and listen to the bonus tracks, and I never did.
Yeah, same. I listened to like some of it, but I eventually stopped and didn't get all the way through.
It was like
I never checked out any of the bonus tracks either.
Some of them do have a lot of plays.
It seemed like a lot of them, like Sweet Bod is in the bonus tracks too, and I don't know what the difference would have been.
Isn't that like a demo or something?
Maybe. But I think it just says Sweet Bod bonus, maybe? I don't know.
Maybe like extended cut or something. I don't know.
Anyway,
yeah, I don't know where to begin. With
I really know either.
This is hard to dissect.
Yeah, because there has to be a start point of a review. God knows where that should be.
Like, yeah, I don't know. Like, because with Murder Ballads, obviously, it's like
you have a concept to open up with.
Yeah, it's like, you begin and end with the story. Here, I think he's trying to tell a story, I'm not 100% sure.
To me, it seems like a collection of songs that are a little quirky in lyrics. Where
it definitely ends up being like that. I don't know if it like really begins that way.
I think a lot of the songs are just individual little stories about some sort of like horrific creature or monster or something.
Gonna sound bad going like straight into it with a sentence that sounds like a negative, but it sounds like, and this is older than them, but it's, to me going into it, it seemed a lot like Bear Ghost quirky storytelling.
Yeah.
But I didn't like it as much.
Because there wasn't as much energy.
They're they're more talented instrumentally, I guess. But also their like songs are like about a barbecue where people eat people, and this one has like a whole story about a ghost mongoose. And it doesn't really say much in that song that you would think a song about a ghost mongoose would, or a guy that is an arcade cabinet, or a guy that is your dad that you might have stole his medicine, but then he found.
I didn't understand that song at all. Which is,
I think the last song seemed pretty out of place.
Yeah, he really went off the wall. Like I was saying, like towards the latter half of the album, it's like what is this?
Yeah, it doesn't really follow the theme anymore, as far as I can tell.
Yeah, and it got like political, like with the Reaganomics. Yeah. I'm like, what?
Yeah. He's Reagan.
Like, I don't understand.
He's Reagan and your dad, like, and a ghost of a mongoose, and an arcade cabinet.
Now, all that being said, I kind of dug this for what it was. It's definitely too long, and again, I'm glad we didn't listen to the hour-and-a-half version. But I don't know, like. This album wasn't as bad if you like kind of break it up into.
Brandon, we might be sessions. 2 for 2 and agreeing on an album this episode.
This is a little frightening.
Yeah, where.
Well, that's kind of the spoiler. Rest assured, we will not agree on yours.
Darn. But yeah, no, I did like it. Again, same kind of thing where it's just like, kind of wish I was listening to Bear Ghost. Because their albums are 30 minutes long at most.
Yeah. This would be way better if it was trimmed down.
There are songs that kind of have
40 minutes.
Yeah, it just
the same.
Trimmed a bit.
I think you could cut like either I feel like No Eyed Girl and Sweet Bod don't need to exist together.
I like Sweet. I like both of the songs.
Yeah, they're fine, but they're kind of the same.
Yeah, but I mean,
I like Sweet Bod more than No Eyed Girl. It's
Yeah.
probably one of my least favorites.
Weirdly enough, my favorite is As Your Father I Expressly Forbid It.
That's probably my least favorite.
That song is so much fun.
I can't tell if I love that song or if I hate it. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
It's fun and I like it, but it's just really
It's been stuck in my head this entire 3-week
I'm
period.
your dad.
Like my even downstairs earlier, I was going, As Your Father I Expressly Forbid It.
Were you singing that to Rev? Like
No.
this cycle.
She doesn't do anything that I can forbid yet. She's not old enough. But no, it's a lot of fun. It also has the melody of Rock Lobster by the Big
It does.
52s,
It does.
which I also
Oh my
unironically like. So maybe that's it. But that song's so much fun. But then there are the problems with these. I think if you take out like the minute intros in some of these, it'd be like 40 minute. And it would be a lot more. Kind of like the disrespect for time kind of thing, where like Lifetime Achievement Award does not need to be 6 minutes.
Right.
I think Eighth Wonder has a 45-second intro that is kind of silence, and
I do wish that,
stuff like that.
The last minute of Lifetime Achievement Award was cut off, because it should just be like a little segue song or something.
Yeah, just to open the album real quick, and then we'll get you to the action.
Yeah, like I feel like it just ruins that song a little bit.
Yeah, and this is I feel like I always come off saying like long albums equal bad. Like I don't think that.
No,
but
that's
like,
not true. But there's a difference between bloated.
Yeah.
Or like just uncut songs where it's just like they were in the studio or he or whoever, if this is a band or not. It was like, oh well, I can't cut Reaganomics. It's necessary. I love Reaganomics. When in reality, you probably could have cut it, even though it makes it a political album.
You're right.
So
barely.
the one song. But then again, you could almost. I had to find where this album was spooky, as well. First listen, I didn't catch why it would be called spooky, and then had to pick apart the songs. Where I was like, oh, he's talking about a dead body in most of these. And
yeah, like it doesn't sound
aliens
scary. Like it kind of just sounds like he's having a good old time, and then
it's like mysterious, dark
yeah.
vibes, kind of, in a very quirky tone. But like a lot of the songs kind of cut away from that theme, and I don't know why they're on this album.
Yeah, I mean, a couple of the songs do kind of seem just totally out of place on this album.
Yeah. Like I like Spiral of Ants a lot, but I don't know
That's
why
a better
we're
one.
talking about ants.
It's all over the place.
Yeah.
For some reason, my brain keeps looking at
Yeah.
Eighth Wonder because I have like complaints about that song that kind of do the whole album and that one. But like that song is about him being a mongoose ghost, which sounds pretty interesting. But
Is
like
it specifically a mongoose?
it says in a body of a mongoose
That
or
doesn't
a
mean
ghost
it's a
in the
mongoose.
walls. I mean, kinda.
It says a lot of things.
He's got hands and feet, and he's a freak.
Yeah, like a mongoose.
But I just wish there was more to the story than just that he exists. Is kind of the whole song.
Yeah.
Where like I think maybe Cabinet Man does it the best. Where like he's like, I'm an arcade cabinet, and now there's actually things happening to this arcade cabinet. This arcade cabinet man does not just exist.
Yeah.
Or like he gets robbed, he gets beat up or something. Something happens.
I guess he like.
But he's
gets
off.
killed.
The whole beginning of the song is just like, you can't beat me because unless you cheat, I'll beat you up or something. I don't know. But
yeah.
Then it goes into getting robbed, and it's just that story and that song of the whole story aspects of the individual songs seem to be the best. Because As Your Father I Expressly Forbid It, it seems to just be about a dad that gets his medicine taken and he's mad about it.
No real like spooky or horror themes unless you're afraid of your dad.
Which, to be fair, your father needs his hair, Timmy.
That's just relatable.
It's like the most real song on the album.
It's also fun that it follows Soft Fuzzy Man.
Yeah.
I mean, this album's just like weird, but like obviously it's on purpose.
Yeah.
But I mean, like I said, yeah. I mean, I dug it. wouldn't go back to it often. And again, I think you can trim the fat on this. But what's there? Like, Neil, I have such a hard time saying his name, but Neil Cicierga, not Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Patrick Harris. Those are my two Neils. Armstrong.
Neil Armstrong, yeah. So you're forgetting one. He's like a genius when it comes to production on his own solo albums. And once I learned that it's the same dude, I'm like, oh, like things kind of started to click. But yeah, I don't know. I don't want to sound negative because this. Yeah. I think I'm going to give it a pretty positive. I'll just go ahead and say it. I'm going to give it a 6. But I just have a hard time like pinpointing what it is exactly I like about this album, other than just the simple like, it sounds good, you know, like.
Yeah. I mean that's it.
I'm sorry I don't have more.
I feel the same way. It's hard to put my words into like how I feel about the album, but like I like it.
Yeah, like I've been struggling with this album specifically. Like I had my mind made up about my album and Tristan's album, but this album I'm like I like it. I just don't know how to describe it, you know. Yeah. And I've been wrestling with that like ever since I heard it the first time.
Same.
Yeah.
To me, it was just worse Bear Ghost.
I understand the comparison.
Just quirky storytelling, songwriting, but I just feel like I have a band that's smaller that does it better. And I do like it. Like,
it's more subdued than Bear Ghost.
But that also being said, we didn't cover it on the podcast, but Bear Ghost is the second most highly rated thing we've ever covered. So quirky storytelling music might be our niche.
It was number 1 until
American Idiot. Yeah. But I'm also going 6.
Cool. Well, I like the album. I think it would just be better if it like stayed on topic a little more. Stuck to whatever theme he was really going for.
Which I'm still not sure what that is.
Based on the like cover, it's just like spooky, mysterious.
I will say the cover kind of does the album a bit of a disservice. It's a great cover, but it doesn't really sell what the album is. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like,
for certain.
Like when you look at Murder Ballads, it kind of fits the cover. This not so much.
I do feel like I could mistake the cover for Murder Ballads for like a Christmas album. It does look like it's a Christmas.
You know, point taken. Fair enough.
There are just songs on this.
There's like a little snowman.
Like I'm looking down at this list, and there are songs in here I just don't remember, and I listen to this album a lot.
Yeah, same.
I couldn't tell you what Man-Made Objects sounds.
It is kind of a blur, especially how many tracks are on this? 14
minus all the deluxe.
Plus,
it feels longer than that. I'll be honest.
If you make all the songs the length of Soft Fuzzy Man or As Your Father, I feel like this is like an 8.
Yeah.
There's just a lot of wasted time.
There really is.
Like, Lifetime Achievement Award doesn't need to be 7 minutes. Neither does Spiral of Ants. It's 6, but they're both 6.
Yeah, I don't think Spiral of Ants is a great closer to this album.
Why is Spiral of Ants so long? I didn't remember it being that long. Anyway, yeah.
That's it.
I just feel like the album could have been more refined, and I'll give it like a higher score. I'm going to give it like a 7.5.
All right.
So 6, 7.5. We're going so close to what is the spooky theme and not actually doing the spooky theme.
Yeah, I know.
What do you mean? Oh,
6.5.
6.5. Wow. This would be easy to put in the spreadsheet.
What will probably be the most polarizing album anybody's ever heard / review we've ever done, where I'm going to not fight, but like... This is going to be a discussion.
I just knew in my heart that this episode was going to end with you and me being like, you just come into blows with this album. Like, I just know we're not going to agree on it.
A gradual
and I don't know where Timmy stands.
The problem is that I will completely understand. A Gradual Decline in Morale by Kim Dracula. Came out July 14th of 2023, and Kim Dracula has 1.1 million monthly listeners on Spotify. They got popular with a cover of Paparazzi on TikTok, and that's where this came from. But yeah, I'm gonna intro this in a different way. One word you feel about the album. Let's start, Timmy. Just one word. Sum it up.
I need 2 words.
Okay.
Gas station joker.
Okay. Brandon, it's your turn.
One word?
You could do 2. Timmy broke the rules.
No, I one word's all I need. Did I grab the mic?
No, it's only to make it bad.
Horrible.
Wow.
And quite the contrary. I would say genius.
I didn't know it would be so divisive.
I knew it was. There's always been a back of my mind since this album came out. I heard it where I was like, this is going to be a fun one. So I have equally found horrible reviews and positive reviews on this album on the internet.
I found way more positive reviews, and I felt like I was living on an island.
You are living on an island. The only real negative review I gave any amount of watching to, like I watched and listened to, didn't know that Irish was a cover. So like, why should I believe it?
I think you watched the same video I did, or what was the dude being like really negative about the I also watched that.
He
video.
brought up Iris and didn't cover the fact that
I was like,
song.
this guy. I'm like, I kind of agree with a lot of what he's saying, but he kind of loses a little credibility not knowing that it's a cover of Goo Goo Dolls.
You're right, but
because I was desperate to try and find someone that shared my opinion on this album,
and I get that, and that's the fun part about it. Or this is probably the most... So, first time I listened to this album, I got all the way up to, like, Drowned before I was like, okay, I get this. I was like, what am I listening to? What is this for my first listen? And I got to, like, Drowned Superhero area. I was like, okay, I understand what this is now. I'm going to enjoy myself for the rest of it. And then I got addicted to it when I got to it. That being said, there are negatives. I'm not going to come out of this saying... I know I said genius. I know I said all this other stuff. There are definitely negatives in this album. Like 7 pointless interludes.
Yeah, why? Why?
Like,
I don't understand.
The pledge doesn't need to exist. The turn doesn't need to exist. They're 15 seconds long. There's no point for them, and they just break it up.
There's skits / interludes in the actual songs. Yeah. Like,
how else are you going to break up all this?
I don't just don't do it. Like,
I'm saying. My entire reasoning for saying genius is that I've never seen somebody blend genres and it actually turn out as like what I feel, obviously you don't, as a cohesive thing. Where like the first song alone has like trap metal and funk elements and techno and pop and a slap bass and new metal.
Okay, for a split second, like when the slap bass came in, I'm like, hold up, wait a minute, and then. It was very downhill after that.
I absolutely love like the really super gothic orchestral like screech that is the first song, going immediately into a slap bass funk verse, and then immediately into a Disturbed reference right after that. I find a lot in this album that is a lot of fun. Where you'd be like, oh, he did the Down with the Sickness thing right in the first song.
Yeah, I thought that was incredibly corny.
No, it's great. And then goblin screaming, rapping.
It just felt like he was really wanting to be Jonathan Davis / David Draymond.
He doesn't have to be. He's in a song.
And then, yeah, I get to the Jonathan Davis song, and I wasn't like listening, or I wasn't watching the title tracks.
Yeah.
And I was like, this sounds like Jonathan Davis. So I'm like, oh,
it
is Jonathan Davis. I was like, why did this like? It's like, did he? I was like, oh, that makes sense now.
As a side note, talking about 70 Thorns specifically, I found out through that song that I don't know if his name's Sammy, I think, but Kim Dracula themselves do a lot of the instruments by themselves. Like he's the drummer and he's that.
I thought he had a band.
There is. I think they're mostly touring.
Yeah.
It seems like they alone do it by themselves. It seems. Could be wrong. But
so what you're saying is there was no one else in the band to tell him, hey, maybe you shouldn't
no,
do
this
this.
is what they should have made.
There was no one there to stop him.
There are other writers and stuff. Like the people that are featured in this album have writing credits on the songs that they're in. And like My Confession specifically has like 6 writing credits on it or something.
like one for every genre.
Maybe. Man, it's so much fun. Or like every 30 seconds it's a whole new song.
Yeah, that's my problem with this.
No,
it's just a mess.
No,
like, it does not work. He's doing way too much. Too much.
That's why it's great.
Timmy, I'd love to get your where you stand.
I'm kind of in the middle, honestly. I do see how I see your complaints.
That's what I completely understand what he's saying, but what he's saying is why I like it.
But I think it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be when I first started listening to. I wasn't sure what to expect really, but I thought it was interesting. Though I do feel like I was just expecting like he was going to, let's say, something like "Why So Serious" or something.
No,
because it gives a vibe.
Jared Leto
Joker.
You see like the makeup and stuff they do.
Yeah.
Or, like,
and then I see what it looks like.
and...
Like, yeah, that makes sense. Why this sounds.
Yeah.
It sounds like someone who's like way too into Joker.
Like if this album was made when the first Suicide Squad movie came out, this would 100% be on the soundtrack.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Timmy also likes it because Paparazzi is his favorite song ever.
That's true.
It's not that true. You even probably knew that he had a cover of it.
I heard the cover before and I recognized his voice.
Now, I mean, my issue with the genre blending thing is I like when artists do stuff like that. We've covered.
Really not.
We when they do it well.
This is the #1 album. Blending genre.
Well, I was gonna say we've covered 10,000 Gex. That album is literally nothing but genre blending, but they pull it off. Whereas I don't think Kim Dracula, it's just a total.
This is why it's interesting because what you're saying is why I like it, and I understand. I'm not. That's what's fun about this. It's because I can completely hear somebody be like, why would somebody take trap metal and funk and shove it in a song together and change it every 30 seconds, but also throw a bunch of new metal references in it? That's exactly why I like it. That is exactly what gravitates me towards
why? That is my question.
Where to me, this is like the most interesting thing anybody has done in metal in a long time. Where like metal in general and new metal in general kind of all sounds the same now, and there's not much interesting things happening or genre bending stuff. Here comes Kim Dracula, where it's like, hey, I'm gonna do just a normal new metal chorus, but then as soon as that ends, we're gonna sound like Red Hot Chili Peppers, and then as soon as that ends, we're gonna add a techno beat, and I'm gonna sing a pop song, and then also do Elvis impressions. And then...
Oh, God. I forgot about that part.
It's great.
I'll give him props for trying to do something different. Does it mean I like it? No, absolutely not. But I will at least, say, like, hey, you tried to, think outside the box here.
If you come around...
That's probably the most positive thing I can say.
If you come out of this saying that they have talent, I would be happy. Because I feel like that is undebatable. Or like the high-pitched, like long-held note in 70 Thorns, and I think maybe Divine Intervention or Land of the Sun is like, it just screams talent to me. As well as, I don't know, but I'm going to say this is genius. I'm going to say that this is the most interesting thing. This is definitely a debut album. I feel like there are definitely things to grow, where I think Kim Dracula 2 will be much better. Where, like, take out the spoken word little, like, announcer guy, because he's stupid and not necessary.
I hated those parts.
Yeah.
Or take out, like, the prestige and all these little stupid interlude things. And I think you have a much higher album than I'm going to give it. Also, after about around Rosé makes the album feel long. You could probably just cut that song entirely because it's not doing the crazy genre bending stuff that all the other songs does. It's just kind of a slow ballad type song that doesn't need to be there, and it's also the longest song on the album. If you cut Rose, this album, to me, I like a lot more. But like, it's like a love letter to nu metal. I'm surprised you don't like it, to tell you the truth. Or like he does the Korn beatboxing thing in a song.
See, it's cool when Korn does it. When anybody else does it, it's like, stop.
Apparently, Jonathan Davis likes it enough to feature on a song.
Maybe he didn't show him that.
But then also, like, Katy has a song that it basically sounds like it's ripped from System of a Down. It's like, hey, here's a System of a Down part. And then it does the Down with the Sickness reference.
You do the math on this, and yeah, you're right. Like, it should add up to me liking this album. You know, nu metal, genre blending of all shapes and sizes. But it just doesn't equal anything that I will ever want to listen to again.
I'm so happy that we did this on a podcast. Because
you best believe my written review would have been super long.
It's hard to argue or like be like, no, because exactly what you're saying is exactly like, just take the words that you're saying and bring them into a positive light, and that's what I'm saying. We're like, oh, it's all over the place. Oh, it's all over the place. Oh, it's genre building has a billion things every 20 seconds. Back and forth. That's why I like it. Also, it's got some pretty harsh leaning, political leaning lyrics in it, so it brought my gimmick that I was trying to bring in, as well as the spooky gimmick. Where, like, to be fair, they're really dark political lyrics. Like, the entirety of the song "Make Me Famous" has the little breakdown where he says that be praised for causing havoc. That's why I signed up to protect and to serve. And then divine retribution says sometimes you got to kill a few children to make the world listen. It's just like, those are really dark political leaning lyrics. But they're there. But also, the first song says that anything he says can't be used against him, or what a belief of his. So, true. But yeah, no, I think that's what I've got. I like this album because of the craziness, but I do understand that there is room to grow between all like the randomness of the like announcer guy and.
If you take out the announcer and interludes, it might get a slight bump for me. Yeah. I still wouldn't.
And I would get that. It would probably get a slight bump for me too.
I still wouldn't like it, but it'd be an improvement because, boy, like, I just can't handle that. Like, it sounds like he's just holding his nose, being like, "Hey, Kim," you know.
Yeah, I think that's what it is.
And then the one halfway through the album where he says, like, "Oh, you're halfway through the album.
Yeah, this might be your greatest album."
Not likely, Kim. I hate to tell you this, but it's like, I'm only listening to this because I'm forced to.
You're enjoying every second of it. Did you like the songs that weren't as all bombastic all over the place, like Rosé or Iris?
No.
Or okay, gotta ask.
Even like, sorry if that came off like really abrupt, but like,
RU doesn't switch up all that much.
I was just gonna say I didn't like any song on this album.
That's so funny.
Fair enough. That is funny.
And here, let's like, I don't like to be negative. Like, I always try and find a positive for any of the albums we do. Like, even 21 Pilots. Like, you know how I feel about them, but I always, try and find something.
The problem with them is that you're wrong. And here, I understand.
At least I have backup on 21 Pilots.
I think you guys are just wrong.
But here, I just can't find anything that I'm like...
And I get that.
Oh, that was good. Like, this album kind of made me hate breakdowns, which I love breakdowns. But, like, when you just throw them in willy-nilly for no reason...
There are, like, guttural screams on this that rival some of the best in the genre.
I don't think...
Make Me Famous has throat singing.
I think his pig squeal, like, I think it's horrible.
Oh, it's great. Every part of it.
I think you put him next to, like, literally any deathcore singer ever, he gets, blown out of the water. Like, it's not good. This is what I was afraid of when
it's fine.
I knew from the moment I heard this album that, like, yep, this is what this review is going to be.
Yep, and that's fine. I was hoping for it, actually. I was really hoping that we weren't all like, oh, we like this. Because this is way more fun for me.
It's good that you saved this for last.
I didn't purposefully. I didn't think he was going to be the least popular. Because he's got TikTok popularity. I figured that would do something.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I've heard his name, his name's based off Deftones, but that's not what I mean. But, like, he's kind of becoming more mainstream. Like, I haven't listened to any of his songs prior to, this round of albums, but I've seen him around. Like even Timmy, you said you heard his cover of Paparazzi before.
It was probably on like TikTok. Or
yeah,
something.
I've heard about him, through osmosis.
He's getting, they're getting thrown on a lot of, like, really big tours as well.
Yeah,
they just opened for, like, Avenged.
Yeah, I was going to say they toured with Avenged Sevenfold.
Like him or not, but they just opened for Falling in Reverse on their, like, Popular Monster tour as well.
Wasn't Falling in Reverse and Kim Dracula also on the Avenged Sevenfold tour?
Yeah, or different parts of it maybe, but yeah. They are opening for In This Moment currently.
That
on
checks
two
out.
different, yeah. They're the direct support though, so like
that makes sense.
They're getting like a 45-minute thing, but yeah. So like they're getting the notoriety to make it in this scene at some point. I'm thinking that whatever the next album will be an improvement. That's what I'm hoping for. Where like the only negatives I've ever really seen, other than the couple of reviews that are like, this is all over the place and I don't understand it, are that the announcer's rough to get through, and yeah, that's really about it. Brandon, what do you want to score it?
1.
Damn.
Timmy, what are you going to score it?
I'm going to go 5.5.
I'm going 8. In this little silence we have here, I forgot that we have to pick again.
Yeah.
4.8.
Going into this, I was just like, oh, we got to review these. We got to set all this stuff up. Blah blah. Forgot that there's still more to this.
Yeah, there's another round.
I kind of forgot until
we're not ending today.
I left.
Oh, so you got? Was your guys' albums like kind of a last minute pick?
Pretty much.
I've had my. I think I mentioned this in the last episode where I forgot that this was a gimmick round, and I forgot that I wasn't going to be able to pick what I wanted to pick. So then I kind of tried to like shove my what I wanted to pick into the gimmick round voting, but it didn't work. So then I kind of got it in there. But so yeah, if anybody wants to go and pick or do.
Well, I was going to say, I've had my album picked out for a while, so I guess I'll go first if you don't mind. It's an album that came out this year. It's
been a trend of yours.
It's either from the 1980s or 2024. But this album, you might have heard of it if you frequent the music review sites. It's been blowing up recently. It just came out a few months ago. But it's Imaginal Disc by Magdalena Bay.
Yeah. I've heard the name, that's all.
So, whoever would like to go next.
I don't know what to do with that.
I can put Alma on the table.
Okay. My pick. I've been asked to pick this album for a long time.
Darn it!
No, here comes it.
Maybe we are ending the podcast.
It really fits this season right now. Evermore by Taylor Swift.
Didn't we? Oh, that was Folklore.
Yeah,
we're
it's most like Folklore.
We're doing the sequel.
I think
that was the fall vibes.
I think me and you both knew what was. Oh, here comes Taylor Swift.
Well, Ashley even put it in the comments for the Facebook poll. Was like, I made Timmy do Fall Vibes so that he could pick out Evermore.
Wait. This is your worst fear, isn't it? Taylor Swift. This is the first time we're covering her on YouTube.
Oh, is it? Yeah.
Well, I was so. Yeah, and the current episode 0 was going to be us talking about the albums we had just listened to.
Yeah.
But we had just listened to Taylor Swift.
That wasn't.
And I was like, I don't want episode 0 to be talking about Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
It's better than Midnight's.
Oh, I'm sure. Because her Folklore is better than anything else we've listened to by her.
This is the third Taylor Swift album we've...
This will be, yeah.
Yeah.
Damn.
I'm also going to pick the theme that Timmy was doing, where I was gonna what thing I try to shove into our gimmick round. But we're gonna go Moral Panic 2 by Nothing But Thieves. I say 2, and I gave you guys a little bit of a rundown of this album after we ended recording last time. Moral Panic is an album by Nothing But Thieves. It might be called the Moral Panic Complete Edition, actually. I could be wrong.
I can look it up.
Look it up for me. Okay. They released Moral Panic. It was an album that I didn't think flowed very well, and I came out not enjoying it as much as I thought I would. And then they released an EP called Moral Panic 2. So then they took that, shoved it into... Stop it! Yours might be broken.
I'm confused about what album. I don't see Moral Panic 2. Unless you were getting to that.
It's Moral Panic, a complete edition. It's the purple one. That one.
Oh, okay.
So they shoved Moral Panic 1 and the EP called Moral Panic 2 into an album called Moral Panic, the complete edition. Okay. And they changed the songs dramatically. Where, like, Moral Panic 1's track 11 might be, like, track 4 on the complete edition.
So we're doing this one.
Yes.
Correct. And
it flows a lot better that way, in my opinion. So we're going to do that one. But, bonus credit, if you guys find the time, listen to Moral Panic to be able to compare it to the changes that they made for Moral Panic, the complete edition.
Okay.
You're going to be listening to the songs anyway. It's the same album, same songs, just with 5 more.
I see.
I think that leads to a interesting discussion.
Oh, real quick, Timmy, is it the deluxe or non-deluxe?
Good question. I don't know.
It's Taylor Swift. There's probably 14.
There are. Well, no, not really. It's censored and explicit.
No, there's not like the Tortured Poet Society where every other week she releases an extra song. It makes it to where you have to buy the whole album every time to hear the song. It's football season. That's why we're listening to Taylor Swift. The Chiefs are 4-0.
Yeah.
Not that Travis Kelce has anything to do with that.
I have him on my team.
Oh, that sucks.
And yeah, he's
sitting down.
Not been good.
I'd say just a regular version of Evermore.
Yay!
Hooray!
Woo!
So once again, these are some long albums this week. They're all just over an hour, like just about an hour.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for listening to Spooky Album Sessions.
Bye.
Album
Goodbye.
Spooky Sessions. Still make the abbreviation work. Yeah. Listen to the albums, check back, leave comments, subscribe, do all the liking stuff.
Or don't.
Or don't.
Listen to Tristan's album and tell me whose side you're on.
Or don't if you get...
Or don't if you value your ears.
The normal, everyday person's not going to like it.
Okay, bye.
Bye. I thought we already ended.
We probably did.